Hello there and welcome to my channel. My name is Doug and I'm back with another fountain pen review. Today we're going to look at a pen that I have said time and time again is the most comfortable pen design I've ever held. It is the Penbbs 323. I love this pen. This is the one with the snake on its face.
As for Harry, I'm the guy with a snake on his face.
This is my fifth, but I gave my clear glass 323 away as part of a channel giveaway contest. I know, I'm just that kind of guy. People need to know about this pen design. It's unique, lovely to look at, and incredibly comfortable in the hand. When Penbbs came out with an entirely new acrylic resin in what looks like a limited edition called the Peacock 323, I had to have one. However, being a newbie at these Penbbs Etsy feeding frenzies, when it appeared, I put the pen in my basket, and by the time I'd finished my other shopping, it had disappeared. I was lucky enough to have a pen pal in Toronto who had my back and ordered an extra one just for me. And while I was writing this very review, I received a new Moonman Model S5 that I think will give the Penbbs 323 a run for its money. So let's take a close look at this new beauty and get a sneak peek of the new Moonman S5 right now. So here I am with a package that I got from Bauer Inks in Toronto. And of course, I bought some ink from Claudia, but I also bought a Penbbs 323 from her. I was a little bit late in getting it in the feeding frenzy, and she quite kindly grabbed one for me, and I paid her for it. And here we are. First looks. Ooh. This is great. Look at that. Beautiful. We'll have to clean this pen out, match some ink to it, and do a review. You know, I love the 323 model so much, I did a love letter video on the 323 model, which I will link in the description. But you can watch that later because I have a sneak preview of what might be a Penbbs 323 killer coming up in a few minutes. Stay tuned. With this new Peacock finish, I think I now have 4 relatively rare 323 models in Tootsie, Amber is a Cat, Black Tortoise, and now Peacock. Let's look at this finish for a moment. It's a little greener in person than it looks on camera or in photos, but it is a beautiful acrylic nonetheless. I put this black snake ring on the pen as a roll stop, and it looks great and it works great too. And it was fairly inexpensive. I got it on eBay in a jewelry shop, so it's like a buck or two. Of course, the first thing you might notice about this pen is the unique shape. In my research on this pen shape, I've only come up with one other pen by a boutique independent custom pen maker, Ken Cavers, and his is close, but it's not the same. And it is inconclusive which came first. I've also read on Reddit that the 323 is a copy of some Indian ebonite pen models, but I've yet to find one or any evidence that Penbbs copied it, if it exists. However, as we shall see, Moonman, who are quite adept at copying everyone, from Leonardo to Stipula to Parker, have taken on Penbbs now too. I think it's a sign of Penbbs' success. Lingmo has already ripped off the Penbbs 308 with their Lingmo Lorelei, but now Moonman is on their tail as well. Regardless of copies or design provenance, the 323 is unique and comes in a huge variety of finishes, and even in an anodized aluminum version. They're also insanely affordable. If you don't have one of these, my pen friends, shame on you. You can't afford not to have one of these incredible writing instruments. Those of you that need clips, well, you're excused. Those of you who absolutely must post your fountain pens or you will perish and be banned to pen purgatory for penultimate eternity, you're also excused from getting one of these. The rest of you is pen. The cap finial and the barrel finial both are mirror images of each other and a nice conic shape to a point. The cap has no clip and curves or bulges to a thick spot right here and then down to the separation with the barrel, which has a very minimal step down. This pen has no cap band, no model or brand markings other than the nib. The highly polished edges are smooth and slide together almost seamlessly. The barrel also bulges up and then with a gentle curve which tapers away to a very thin part of the tail before it swoops up again to the end finial. The whole minimalist curvy shape is very sensuous to the touch and in the hand. The cap unscrews with about 1.5 turns to reveal a concave section made of the same acrylic. The shape of the 323 section is my favorite Penbbs section. I was very gratified to see that they put this on the new 487 model as well. And here with a little bit of thunder in the background is the number 6 size steel Penbbs fine mini fude or Waverly style upturned tip nib. I don't think I've ever been disappointed with a Penbbs fine nib, or at least I've never had one that I couldn't make right perfectly for me with just a little bit of tweaking. Actually, I lie, because I did do an experiment on one two-toned fine Penbbs nib once, and I kind of wrecked it. It wasn't the nib's fault. It was user error. Error. And here is the plastic feed. I hear people claim these feeds are fragile. I've never broken one, but then again, I don't squeeze the hell out of them with my fingers or with pliers either.
Now what say we get those nasty old wisdom teeth?
Okay. Let me at him.
Good job. And with dentists in a box, you'll learn how to cure gingivitis, plaque buildup, and abscesses.
There's no need to put any pressure on this feed at all. Using elastic or a piece of rubber, you just put a little bit of pressure on the shoulders of the nib without putting any pressure on the feed at all. And that's all you need to pull the nib or otherwise adjust the nib, even if you want to unscrew it, because these nibs come out very easily with a slight twist like that. And they're in a nib color. Of course, your mileage may vary.
Your mileage may vary.
And of course, the cap does not post, but when this pen is in your hand, you won't care. If I know I'm going to be writing for an extended period of time, I'll always reach for one of my 323s. At least I might start writing with another pen, and when my hand starts to tire, I'll reach for one of these 323s. The section unscrews and has a silicone O-ring right there so that you can eyedropper this pen. But it comes with a cartridge converter and will accept Parker Short or Lamy Long cartridges. Interestingly, the Parker Long cartridges do not fit into the barrel of the 323. The Lamy Long ones do, but they have a little bit of a notch on them that makes them slimmer down here. Now, before we get into some size comparisons, I mentioned in my last video that I have names for some of my pens. I've started calling my Penbbs 492 the Stinky Rat. Of course, a few of them I just called POSs, but I said that I'm calling this 323 Mrs. Peacock. There are a few reasons for this, the most obvious being that the resin is called Peacock, and the shape is very curvy and feminine. I know I'll get some hate comments about that, but it's absolutely true that many common objects, from the Grecian urn to the guitar, are curvy feminine shapes. this 323 is a distinctly feminine shape. Not that there's anything wrong with that. The second reason is that the first time I used a fountain pen was in grade 6. My teacher was, you guessed it, Mrs. Peacock. She used to write with a fountain pen with Peacock blue ink, of course. She wore wingtip glasses and wore way too much evening in Paris. Grade 6 was a watershed year for me. I got strapped for throwing a snowball over the line, which was a capital offense in 1967. I got my first fountain pen, which was a Schaefer student pen, and received an academic trophy, all in the same year, from being a bad boy to a browner in only 9 months. So this Peacock pen, with Peacock blue ink in it, will now be known as Mrs. Peacock. Here endeth the lesson.
Here endeth the lesson.
Now let's look at some size comparisons. And here is the Penbbs 323 Peacock with a Penbbs 308, a Pilot Metropolitan, a Lamy Safari, and a Parker 45. And here they are posted. Well, here are all of them posted but the 323, of course. Now let's look at some measurements, and I'll be back with a writing sample. And we're back with the writing portion of the review. This is Clairefontaine 90 GSM paper, and this is the Penbbs 323 Peacock, and it has a fine steel nib. Boom. And the ink today is Robert Oster Fire and Ice. Now my pen pal who snagged this pen for me, of course, is Claudia Asterkiza of Bauer Inks in Toronto. She included a sample ink which she matched to this pen, and she matched it very well with Robert Oster Green at Night. This is the swatch for that ink, and here is the swatch for Fire and Ice. I used the pen with the Green at Night in it for a couple of weeks, and it matches the pen very nicely. As I mentioned before, this is more of a green pen than a Peacock green or Peacock turquoise pen. Even though the pen acrylic is named Peacock, there's nothing Peacock blue about this resin. It's green. Regardless, I love writing with it, and I love turquoise Peacock blue ink since my first Schaefer fountain pen in 1967, and my beloved Scrip Peacock blue ink cartridges. So I've matched it with the Fire and Ice, which I think is a killer Peacock blue. And here is a swatch of Lamy Turquoise, another really nice turquoise ink. And let's check the wetness. It's decently wet. Not a gusher, of course, but this is typical. So I would say typical Penbbs. Fine. The more you write with it, the wetter it gets. And if you just want to open it up a little bit, just giving it a little bit of a push. Don't spring it, but just give it a little push now and then, and it will open up. If you have a really dry nib, of course, you can use a shim and open it up even further. But this is a typically very smooth nib right out of the box. As to line variation, you're not going to get any line variation with this pen. It is stiff. And again, that is typical.
This is typical.
absolutely terrible.
And for our writing sample, and some reverse writing. That's very scratchy, and it runs out of ink very quickly. And some quick writing. Feed seems to keep up very nicely. There was a skip there, but that was me. So, what do I like and what do I not like so much about this fountain pen? Well, I've talked about my likes and dislikes of this pen a number of times. The skinny is, it is the perfect desk pen. It's for writing. It isn't for your purse or your briefcase or even your carry-along journal. It's for serious desk writing. Writing letters that will be sealed and mailed. Writing in a journal that stays on your desk. That's how I see this pen. Yes, it has no clip and it doesn't post. Feel one in your hand and you won't care. I promised a sneak peek at the new Moonman S5 model that I got in the mail today. And at first glance, the 323 finally has some competition. It comes in this optional tin box as a gift box, and it comes with 2 extra nibs. The sales information from Etsy said they were non-Moonman broad and medium nibs. However, on close inspection with my loupe, they are both 1mm stubs, and one of them is an oblique. Very interesting indeed. I can't wait to give them a try. Now let's look at the pen. It is in a crystal clear acrylic that made the Moonman M2 and C1 pens so popular. But it has a very familiar shape, don't you think? What's going on here, I wonder? Of course, the first thing I wanted to know was, does it post? And lo and behold, it posts. Holy schmeckle. Add a really interesting acrylic section, what looks like a large capacity eyedropper and a little jewel bling here on the gold band, and we have a very interesting pen to review. So stay tuned for that review coming this Saturday. And there you have it. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell to get instant notifications when new videos are posted. And that just leaves it for me to say, thank you for watching. And that's all she wrote.
I made this.